Okay, we can get started now. To begin, can you tell me your full name?
So my Korean full name is Sungmin Jo, but you can just call me Eric.
Sounds good.
And you gotta put H behind the C.
H.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
silent H.
A silent H behind the C. I gotcha. All right. Can you tell me, are you working or studying now?
I'm a student at Yonsei University, and I'm a senior right now, but I finished my whole semester, so I'm about to graduate this August.
Oh,
And I'm also working as an intern in SNU Hospital as a robotic engineer.
oh, interesting. Do you enjoy your studies?
Not exactly. I mean, it's too hard, so I had a hard time uh, thinking about, getting a good grade. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what do you hope to do after you graduate?
Well, after I graduate, I just want to go to a company as normal as a lot of people do, but I want to do something that's kind of um, some collaboration between what I've did so far, for example, the engineering, and also talking with the foreign people. So using English, I want these two combined. So I want to do a job that's related to these two.
Oh, good. And what do you enjoy doing in your free time?
In my free time, I usually watch YouTube and also do a workout such as like push-ups and pull-up, such things like that.
Okay. Let's see. Where is your hometown?
My hometown is near the Gangnam Station. It's, and it takes about 10 minutes just by walking from Gangnam Station to my house.
Yeah. What kind of things do you like about your hometown?
Well, if you ask anyone about what do you think about Gangnam, it's the center of Seoul, and there are lots of facilities around. So it is really convenient to get what I want. I can just walk to the store and get anything that I want. And for people who are into education, there are a lot of academies, so you can get a good quality of education anywhere. Yeah.
Sure. Um, what kind of things do you like? What kind of things do you not like about your hometown?
Mm, maybe when I go to work or go to a subway station, it is too crowded in certain period. For example, when I finish my work and go back to my home, um, I think it's about 7 to 8 p.m. Like if you go to exit 7 in the Gangnam Station, it is too crowded, and it takes about 3 to 5 minutes just to go upstairs.
Mm.
Yeah, so I don't like that. People being too crowded.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, we can talk about change now. Have you changed a lot since your childhood?
I think I've changed a lot. Yeah. So
Mm.
back in the childhood, I was really quiet and I was only focusing on studying. But as I grow up and meet a lot of people, like, I became extroverted, and so it changed. I changed into like, I changed to like talking with other people.
Okay. And what do you plan to change next year?
Mm, Probably being more being more positive, because usually I think in a negative way, but it's not something like that. Being negative means, oh, I cannot do this. Like, it's not something like that. Just when I think about the future, I think in a negative way. So I think about how to how what I should do to not make this happen. But I think just thinking positive, as lots of people suggest me to do, I think that's much more better because it gives me less stress. So yes, I'm gonna change my mind in a more positive way.
Okay. And do you like changes?
Yeah, I definitely like changes.
Why?
Like if like nothing changes, then it's too boring. But I like something that's kind of like dynamic and always changing. So so if it changes a lot, I can learn more regarding to those changes. So I prefer the change more than just not changing and uh, live a boring life.
Okay. Good. And are there any changes in your hometown recently?
Mm, recent there's a park nearby. At first, that park was really how do I say this? Not pretty developed. I mean, if you just walk around, there are dirts everywhere on your shoes. But recently, it changed. So they made a path that's and they covered something over the dirt. So yeah, so after that, when I walk around the park, my shoes are steady and clean.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Um, we can end part one there.
Oh.
We can move on to part two. Okay, so for part two, you'll have a minute to prepare your answer.
Okay.
And you can take some notes. Here's your question, and here's a pencil. So take a minute to make some notes, and then you'll have up to 2 minutes to talk about the topic. Okay, that's a minute there. So you're going to describe a tradition in your country.
Well, I'd like to introduce Chuseok, which is a really famous holiday and also one of the representative of our Korean tradition. And in Chuseok, usually the whole the whole family members and also the cousins and aunt, they all participate in this tradition. So, and they usually participate not for a whole period like 3 days, but just for a one day because everyone's too busy living their own life. So they make a plan to gather at just one day, and the activities that they do is they play a game called Yunnori. It's throwing four sticks that has two different sides, and yeah, you throw them, and according to the result that came out, you move some kind of a thing, and also they make songpyeon, and also they eat, and I've also tried it too, and I think that's one of the most interesting activities that I've done so far. And how I feel about this tradition, well, I think it's really good, of course, and I feel really relieved because in this holiday, it feels like that I'm outside of my reality, which means that well, in my reality, I'm full of stress, but in this holiday, I feel really happy and don't have to think about what I'm doing right now. Yeah. So basically, happy.
Okay, good. That was just about 2 minutes.
Oh.
What is your favorite part of Chuseok?
Favorite part of Chuseok? Definitely songpyeon. I really like eating some delicious food.
Okay, good. So we can move on now to part three. And the first question, how do people value traditional festivals?
I think since I'm used to talking with workers right now, they mostly say that tradition is just a resting period, the holiday, and they feel really happy because they don't have to go to work. And for people who are really young, well, in a similar way, they also feel happy because they don't have to go to school. So instead of actually enjoying the true meaning of those tradition. They just feel happy because of this tradition and this holiday. They don't have to live their normal life at those short period. So, yeah, I think in this way, most of the people think that it's just a resting period.
Good. What's the difference between festivals now and festivals in the past?
Well, in the past, when there's some kind of festival, lots of people gather together and they enjoy the activities. Yeah, such as what I said before, yunori or this kind of stuff. But nowadays, it's really hard to find people gathering and enjoying the activities nowadays. So if I ask someone, what did you do on this holiday or in this festival, they usually say, oh, I just watched YouTube, I just took a rest and lie on bed. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest difference.
Sure. Okay. Do you think Western festivals or holidays like Christmas are replacing traditional festivals or holidays in your country?
I think instead of replacing, I think adding would be more a appropriate way to say it. So I've never felt that the Western holidays or the festivals are replacing our holiday. So I think it's just adding, not the replacing.
Okay. Do you think it's wrong for children not to celebrate traditional festivals within a culture?
You mean even though they want to enjoy it, they cannot?
No, like they decide they don't want to.
Mm.
If children decide they don't want to, is that a problem?
Well, I've never thought that would be a problem because that's their own choice. You know, even I had lots of times not enjoying the holiday or the festival. So I think it's just their own choice, and it's not wrong at all.
Okay, good. Okay, we've made it to the end.
Oh.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
And now we can move on to a little bit of feedback. So as you know, the IELTS is scored on 4 parts. There's fluency and coherence, there's pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. I think you did a nice job on all of these categories, but we can just comment on each quickly. We'll start with the first 2 that are the easiest. Fluency and pronunciation are both very strong. You've got a natural rhythm of speech and no pronunciation issues at all, really. So those are both very strong. Vocabulary and grammar are often linked.
Yeah.
It can be hard to actually say exactly what's a vocabulary thing and what's a grammar thing. Broadly speaking, I think it was quite good. You have a good control of the present and the past tense. Good accuracy for the most part. And there's kind of 2 ways that you want to think about it. There's accuracy and then there's range. So accuracy, whether there are errors, and then range, whether you're reaching for idioms and natural phrases and very advanced vocabulary. The errors that you made were very small. In part 1, for example, the question about your hometown might have been a little misunderstanding. I think you could just say Seoul is your hometown. I know Seoul is not a town, but hometown just refers to the place where you grew up.
Yeah.
That would have made that question a little bit easier because you could talk more generally about the city. But I guess that's a vocabulary thing in a way. When you were describing the train, too, you described it as too crowded, which is true in a good way to describe it. But there's more advanced words that you could have used as well in that position to sort of advance your score. You could have described it as cramped. You could have described it as claustrophobic. You could say it's suffocating. And reaching for these slightly more advanced phrases is good.
Okay.
Good for progressing in your score. In terms of grammar, let's see, small things. At one point, you mentioned that something was more better.
Better.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just better. A little bit of using comparatives is actually very good on the exam. It shows a level of accuracy and range. So those questions that ask you to compare the festivals now and festivals in the past, that's a good place to use comparative forms. The more better was a part one question, but again, it's an accuracy. Really small other things, plurals and singulars. You mentioned that the park there were lots of dirts, and dirt is not countable.
Yeah.
Dirt is not countable. So those are small little accuracy things that might hold you back just a little bit. One other point would be that in part three is hard because you get these general questions and they want you to talk generally without using your own example. So you want to avoid using an I statements or approaching it from a personal perspective and try to keep it as general as possible. It can be hard because the questions come from various different angles.
Yes.
But yeah, overall, I think it was a very good test, and I would estimate your score at around 7.5, but a very strong 7.5. And with a little bit of extra refining on the vocabulary, a little more advanced phrases, you'd be able to move up.
Okay.
So very good job, and thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you.
All right, take care.